No need for you to reply me. So let me open uh, today's PowerPoint design. You can mute your mic. No need of you replying me. Thank you. Alright, thank you, Tunde Ajibade. Over the past week, we've been looking at front end fundamentals. We've looked at HTML, what HTML is about, sorry, what CSS is about, and in our last class, we looked at what JavaScript is about as well. We said HTML structures your web page, while CSS styles and control your web page, while JavaScript adds functionality to your web page and makes your web page interactive. So today we'll be looking at JavaScript DOM. JavaScript DOM, that's document object model. It's just be an overview. We'll just look at what it is, then we'll look at Git and GitHub, then we come to the end of this front-end development fundamentals class 1.0. Can you please mute your mic? No need. Don't worry. Don't need of you giving me feedback. Thank you. Thank you. So, as I was saying, we'll be looking at JavaScript document object model overview. Then we'll look at Git and GitHub. So from this section will make you from building projects to becoming a developer, from building your personal project to becoming a proper developer. You've not you've not you've not built you've not built project, you've not become a proper developer if you've not begin to um push your project to GitHub. So let's get on with today. What will you learn today? What you learn today is DOM foundation, starts document object model foundation. You will understand how JavaScript interacts with HTML. You will another thing you are learning today will be Git foundations. You will understand repositories. What are repositories? What does it mean to commit? What does branches means? Another thing you will learn is that you will understand what GitHub is, what Git is. You practice, you will create and connect repositories to share your work. And the fourth thing you'll be learning is developer growth. That is after HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Git, and GitHub. What next am I supposed to learn? What else am I supposed to learn? So now let's do a bit of recap. Our journey so far. Our journey so far, in the first section, we look at what front-end development is. We we learned what software development is. We learned how websites work, and we also learned HTML fundamentals, and we learned how to create our first web page. Then our second section, we entered into CSS. We learned about semantic HTML. We learned about CSS, selectors, classes, colors, fonts, spacing, and so on. Then in our third section, we learn about CSS layout, flexbox, grid, and the likes. Then in our fourth section, this is our fifth section. Sorry for this mistake. This is our fifth section. Okay, this is supposed to be our fifth section, but let's just leave it. In our oh my god. In our last section, we learned about responsive design and JavaScript. We learned about responsive design and JavaScript fundamentals. Under responsive design, we learned about media queries, and under JavaScript fundamentals, we learned about variables, different data types we have, which is strings, um, boolean, numbers, and so on. We learned about operators, we learned about conditions and functions. So today, we are going to learn how to take our projects and start managing them like real developers. But before that, I'll give us a quick JavaScript DOM overview. That's quick JavaScript document object model overview. What is the DOM? What is the DOM? DOM stands for document object model. I've been mentioning this that stands for document object model. If you're writing, please write that down. DOM stands for document object model. The DOM is a representation of an HTML document that allows JavaScript and other programs to interact with the web page. So what the DOM does is that it serves as a agent, as a intermediary that connects HTML with JavaScript, that allows JavaScript to be able to interact with the web page. And I'm going to show us that soon. So this is like the hierarchy. Sorry, yes, the hierarchy. We have here the browser reads your HTML file and transform it into a living document that JavaScript can actually interact with. I'll say that again. So the browser creates a structure that JavaScript can interact with. You can think of it like this: HTML first, then your browser, then DOM. DOM is like, I said it's like an intermediary, it's like the agent, then DOM, then JavaScript. So you can see it here. I said HTML is a static markup that defines structure. Then two, browser creates the DOM when loading. That is, browser creates the document object model when loading. Then JavaScript can then read and modify the document object model. So document object model is not really a big thing. Like I said, it's just an intermediary between HTML, your browser, and JavaScript. It serves as the bridge between static HTML and interactive JavaScript. So let's move on. What can JavaScript what can JavaScript do with document object model? One, it allows us to find elements, to change text, to modify elements, and also to react to events. It also allows to remove elements. We can also add elements. And like I said, to react to events, that is responding to user interactions. So for example now, let me show us something. So this has been the code we are working with for a long time. So um, let me give this an idea of title. I want to show us how JavaScript can find HTML elements. Yes. So we already give it an idea of title. Then we can come to our JavaScript here and see const title is equals to document dot query selector title. Can you see? Can you see? So this is how JavaScript finds an HTML element. And how do you anytime you want to manipulate the HTML element or you want JavaScript to find an HTML element, most times what we use is this document.query selector. Now let me show us how JavaScript can change the element. So let's say we call back the name of our variable. Last week we talked about what a variable, and said variable is like a container that is used to store value. So in this case, this value the value that is being stored in this variable is this document element. So let's see. Now we have title dot text content equals to, sorry about that, title dot text content equals to welcome to my website. Now we'll see initially, this is what is in our HTML code, my portfolio. Now we've written a function for JavaScript to find the HTML element. Now we wrote another function for JavaScript to change the text. I just want to show us how DOM works. Now let's come to our, can you see? Can you see welcome to my website? So this is how JavaScript change elements. Now let's move on. I already talked about how JavaScript can find an element and can find HTML elements rather. And I told us that mostly what we'll be using is query selector. This query selector, you can use it to find a element that um use class or ID. For example, now if it was a class we wanted it to have, it can be like main heading. You can be like main heading. I would have loved to show us that, but we don't have time. So the next thing is how JavaScript can change the page. It can change content. Once we have selected, I already explained all of this, that once we have selected an element, we can change its content, which was what we did here. Welcome to my website. We selected the element and we changed the content. So now what is an event? The next thing we're going to is an event under document object model. What is an event? An event is an action or occurrence that happens in a web page or browser that JavaScript can respond to. It's not hard. All of these things I'm saying is English. I'll show us what an event is. What an event is rather. So You can see this search button. If I click on this search tab now and say laptop stand, me clicking on this search button is an event. You see, it took me to the page where there are laptop stands. Can you see? So this thing that just happened is an event. Like I said, it is an action or occurrence that happens in a web page. What happened when we click on the search button? It took us to another place. So that's an event right there. And in my slide, I have examples of events, which is clicking a button, just like I showed us now, typing into an input, submitting a form, moving the mouse. See, all of these things we are doing here. See, can you see? These are events. Can you see? Do you see what happened? These are events. These are events. Another type of example is loading a web page. Now, example of click events. We have under events, we have, I told you that we have different examples. We have clicking a button. That's clicking a button is under click events. So when the user clicks, a click event occurs when the user clicks a button. JavaScript can listen for this event and respond automatically. An example, let me use our local website. Can we see this? Do you see? This is an event. We wrote this function when we were looking into JavaScript fundamentals. This button here, this is an example of a click event. Can we see? This is an example of a click event. Sorry. I hope we are following. Hope it's not that I'm rushing. If we are following, kindly react. Kindly react. If you are understanding what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, as I was saying, a click event. This is an example of a click event. Let me show us the code of this thing that just happened now. This is the code. We wrote a function that should alert users and say, hello everybody, welcome to my website. Where's the button? I'm trying to find the button. Yes, this is the button. So, like I said, a click event happens when a user clicks on a button. It happens when a user clicks on a button. So, as you can see, the user clicks on the button, click event then occurs, JavaScript responds, then the message appears. As you can see here, I click, then JavaScript already responds and showed me the message. So now we have input event. An example of an input event is what I did here. Yeah, this space that I'm being inputting something. Can you see? That's an example of an input event. Imagine I put, let's say, wireless earbud. All of this I'm typing is an example of input event. These are input events. Input event. Okay, let me show us. Let me quickly show us that in our code. So right here, under this button, let's have something like input ID equals to name input. ID is equals to name input. and type text. All right. I just want to show us so that it will not be that I'm only showing us on another website. Let's use our own website as an example as well. So we have now we select that element, name input. Remember, I told you that what we use to select is query selector. Then we input. So to create an event, we mostly use an event listener. We use an event listener to create an event. So input dot add event listener. All right, come in. Don't bother about all of these things I'm doing now. I just want to show us an example of event. So say input dot name input dot add event listener. We have input function. So inside this, we're creating a function that it should console. Last week we talked about consoling.log into our terminal, into our console. Then we have name input dot value. Erosion. So now let's see. Let's go to our website. David. Let's open our console. Can you see? Can you see? If I type another one now, every time I'm typing, JavaScript will be able to access that current value at that particular time. I say Ayomide. Can you see? Can you see? So that's another example of input event. Now we are going into the bigger picture. We're going into the bigger picture, which is DOM plus event, DOM plus event, DOM plus event. So I want us to the main idea to this document object model plus events is that HTML creates the element. HTML, it creates the element. CSS makes them look good. Then what JavaScript does, it finds and control the elements. What does event do? Event tell JavaScript when something happens. So because of our time, we will not be going deeply into DOM manipulation today because I don't want to really choke us with what we have today. But the important thing you must just understand, the important thing you must know is that try to know the concept behind DOM. Try to understand the concept behind document object model. Are we following? If you are following, please react. Thank you. So now we'll be going into Git. But I want us to take a moment and just to relax a bit. Please a moment. Kindly react. Thank you today. Thank you, thank you. All right. Now we are going into Git. We already look at JavaScript, document object model, and we also look at events in JavaScript. So now we'll be looking at what exactly is Git. What exactly is Git? Can anybody give us an idea of what Git is? All right, if there's no one, Git is a distributed version control system that is used to track changes in files and collaborate on software projects. In simpler terms, Git keeps a history of changes made to your project, and it helps you to be able to collaborate with other developers on a particular project. That is what Git means. That is how Git works. It is a distributed version control system that keeps a complete history of every change that is being made to your project over time, and also helps to collaborate with different software developers on a software project. So now, as you can see, this is our project that we've been working on and doing various practice lesson on. If I make changes to this website today, probably I just comment this out that I don't want to see it anymore. And tomorrow I make more changes. Then I later realized that the version I had yesterday was better. Git will be able to allow you to track those changes. That is, even if you want, um, now I already changed this thing. I already comment this out, right? Today, let me give a simple analogy. Sorry. Today, I comment this out, right? Then tomorrow, I then make another nav bar, wrote another nav bar. Then I realized that the one I commented out yesterday is more better than this new one, and I want this one back. Git will be able to help you to do that. It will help you track those changes and even help you return to the previous versions when necessary. So you might ask, why do developers, why do they need why do they need Git? And it's simple. Why do developers use Git rather? First, to track changes. I just showed us an example of that. Second, to save versions of their projects. Third one, to undo mistakes. And fourth one, to collaborate, that is to work with other developers. So Git is like it is one of the fundamental tools that is being used in modern software development today. As a front-end developer, as a software developer, if you don't know how to use Git, then I'm sorry, you are not ready to become a solid developer. You're not ready to become a solid developer. Like I said, Git is very important as to know as a developer. It is one of the fundamental tools that is being used in modern software development. Now, what is version control? All of these things, I'm just giving us a basic knowledge of it. Your you can't just necessarily you can't just necessarily know everything instantly. You can't. You can't. It's not mandatory you know all I've said today instantly. It's just to like give us clarity on our journey in front-end development. So, and after this class, I will surely give us additional resources that will help us understand every of what has been taught. So now, what is the version control system, or what is version control? Version control is a system for tracking and managing changes to files over time. Come, let me see if I can see a one of my projects that I collaborated with some developers, so I can show us what version control is. All right, I think this is for front end. Please, you can still see my screen. Can you react? Just give me thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right, all right. So this was a Next.js React project. Let me just open a file. Let me open a file. Where's the landing page? Let me just. I'm trying to show us something. I think it's still open. It's supposed to show me. It's supposed to bring a notification of the last person who did this. I just want to show us an example. See, see, perhaps it lets you be able to what I'm about to show. Yes. Oh my god. Right. And this is source control. Now, scanning folder for Git repositories. I want to show us what version control is. Alright, still loading. I hope to be able to bring the last, because we did this project last year around September. Hmm, still scanning. Hold on. So while it's still scanning, let me just continue. So I said that version control is a system for tracking and managing changes to files over time. So I think of it like this. You have a timeline of your project. That is this version 1, version 2, version 3, version 4. Each important stage can be recorded. That is, this version 1 it can be recorded, this version 2 can be recorded, this version 3 it can be recorded, and this version 4 can be recorded as well. Okay, now we're back. So that is that on version control. It's not something that um version control. I'm just letting us know what it does so that in the future when you start applying for job and you are doing an interview and they ask you what is version control, you'll be able to answer. Now, Git versus GitHub, or the difference between Git and GitHub. So I said here that GitHub is an online platform. GitHub is an online platform for hosting Git repositories. Now, are we following? Let's not be confused. It's not hard. Uh, Let me open my GitHub so as to show us what I'm talking about. Don't worry, we will still practical. We will surely practicalize it and GitHub before this class ends. So this is my GitHub. Um, this is my profile. Now let's go to uh, repositories. So as you can see, in the definition, I said GitHub is an online platform for hosting Git repositories and collaborating on software projects. So can you see? Okay. So this is an example of Git repository that I created. This was a project I did, I think 2 weeks ago. Yes, I did 2 weeks ago. Some assignments. So I was creating an AI agent using LangChain. That's by the way. So we can see this augmented rag is an example of Git repository that is being stored on GitHub. I hope we're not confused. GitHub is like the cloud storage. Git is where your magic is being used in your internal. Oh, this is actually okay. I've not downloaded my Git yet. I'm still using it. Come, I know where it's from. I already have Git. I just want to show us the difference between Git and GitHub. Let me switch up something. So as I was saying, GitHub is the online platform that is used to host Git repositories. It's, it's not it's not that complex. And notes, in as much they sound the same thing, they are not the same thing. They do different work. They do different work. They do different work. Git is the version control system that runs on your laptop. You can see that this GitHub now is not running in my own laptop. It's an online platform, but Git I want to switch this thing now so I can show us. Sorry, everybody. Alright, I think I go to play. Alright, mm, let me ask it to reload. Alright, it's already reloading. So, Git is on your personal computer. This is where the magic is being done. Don't worry, we will create a repository and we'll also push to GitHub. But before doing that, I just want us to understand the concepts between Git and GitHub. So Git runs on your computer while GitHub connects via the internet. That it is runs on the cloud. GitHub runs on the cloud. You can see here, I said Git is your local version control system, while GitHub is an online platform for hosting repositories. And I already showed us an example of a repository. So look at it. Think about it like this. This is your computer. This is Git. Then Git helps you to push to GitHub, that is the cloud, to store and host the Git repositories that are being created in your computer. So what Git does is that it tracks your project locally. Like this. There are some new changes that I don't know. It's already loaded. There are some new changes that if I do here, it won't be aha. Can you see? Can you see my name there? Can you see? David Dunn, 11 months ago. Yao PR. PR is pull request. Build the testimony. This is my commit message. Build the now. Assuming we are still working on on this project with other developers, there are some changes that if I make now on this code base that I am, this is the code base. On this code base that I am, it will reflect on the GitHub repository. Let me try to find GitHub repository for this. I just want us to understand it because this thing is very, 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 very complex and I'm coming to shows shows. I hope I still have access to the event. Event. I'm coming. Let me check it. I just want to show us the what's it called? Scenario. Okay, okay, this is it. This is the repository. Can we see? So this is like our Oga that helps us to merge our work. Uh, there's a pull request here. Let me see if I can still see my pull request. Every of the pull request. So, this was my pull request last week. I said last week, last year. Can you see? October 15, 2025. So, as I was saying, there are some changes that if I make here, it will be until I push to this repository. That is when GitHub will be able to store my new changes and also, in fact, share my project online. Are we following? So, what Git does is that it tracks your project locally. As you can see, David done 11 months ago. It tracks it locally. Let me look for um, another page that I wasn't the one that put. I wasn't the one that. Aha. So this was one of our developers. As you can see, Able Official 11 months ago, September, even with the time, September 23rd, 2025, 5:55 p.m. So that is how Git and GitHub works. Git is used to track your project locally, while GitHub stores or shares your project online. I already used this analogy for us that we should think of writing a school assignment where your computer is where you write and edit the assignments, right? Okay, I'm being given an assignment now. My laptop, this laptop, is where I write and edit the assignments. So what does Git does? It keeps tracks of the changes you make. As you can see, these are the changes. See, updated marketplace and transactions. So that is what Git do. What does GitHub do rather? It's a place online where you can store and even share your project. So if I want to share this project with another developer, I will just ask the developer to, oh Jesus, I didn't realize. So I was giving us an analogy about how GitHub said should, should think about it like I gave a simple analogy that we're being given an assignment and this image here, our laptop, that is your computer, is where you write is where you write and edit your assignment. Then what does Git do? Git helps us to track changes that are being made in our local computer. And GitHub is where GitHub is where our project is being stored or can be shared online. And I showed us an example of a project I worked on about last few years ago. That's last year, sha. And I show us how Git tracks changes. As we can see here, it says here that Able Official 10 months ago. So I built the landing page. You can see here, David done 11 months ago, September 19th, 2025, 2:52 p.m. So this is what Git does. You can even see here that it is asking us to connect it to GitHub. So GitHub is where these files, all of these projects are being stored online. So now we are moving into important Git terms, that is important Git terminologies. One, we have a repository. So a repository, often called as a repo, is a project directory that Git tracks. I hope you get that. So this is a repository is how Git remembers all our code changes over time. I would have loved us to create a repo for this website, but we've not. we've not gotten to that stage yet. There are still more things to explain. I'll just continue to use this other project. So if I could remember the the repo that was being created for this landing page was let me check. That's if they haven't deleted every of the repo. Okay, so uh yes, you can see. Can you see? They've been done. So this was 11 months ago. This was the repo I created for to be able to track these changes. If I didn't create this repo, Git will be Git won't be able to track changes. That is, if I didn't create this repository from my computer and also put it on GitHub, we won't be able to see this. You see that here GitHub does not track file changes like Git does. All it does, all it does is just puts the commit message. This is the commit message. All it does is put the commit message and also the date or month that um these changes were made. Unlike Git, Git we track the changes, give us more details so as to know if we want to add a new thing or remove something. So that is that on repository. I hope you understand what a repository is. So after initializing Git, the project becomes a Git repository. Okay, I can do this. So now let me open my terminal so as to show us how this can become a Git repository. So I come here and open my Git bash. Assuming we had um more time, I will show us how to install Git and how to set it up. But I'll just majorly give us the terminal how it works. So when we start watching videos on it, it won't really be new for us. It's still open. So let me just move on to that loads. Another terminology we have is Git commit. So what is a Git commit? A commit is a recorded snapshot of changes in your repository. If you notice, I was mentioning something that this is my commit message. I was saying something earlier on that this is my commit message. So exactly that's what a Git commit is. It's like a recorded snapshot of changes in a Git repository. That is, after you Git add dots, this Git add dot means you are staging every changes. You are asking Git to add every of the changes you've made. Then your Git commit dash m, then your message, then save the snapshot. It then saves it. After saving it, it's not yet on the cloud. All of these things will still do it. We will use this website as example. I just want to quickly give us the terminologies first, theory aspect. Then I'll show us all of these things. So moving on, we have a branch. So a branch is an independent line of development within a Git repository. In my slide now, you can see, for example, feature navbar. So Most times when you use a branch is when you work with other developers. So an example of a branch is this. These are branches. These are branches. These are branches. You can see this feature reset password page. So this is an example of a branch. You mostly tend to create branch when you are working with other developers. So like I said, it's an independent line of development within a Git repository. Branches allows developers to work on features without immediately changing the main version. If you notice, this is not our main um branch. This is our main branch here, the default. This is the main branch. So we can this is why Git is very important. We can be making many changes on. I just hope we will understand this thing because it might be so confusing. It might be so confusing. It might be so confusing. So we can, as I'm saying, we can be making changes on this imports on profile, and it's not yet in our main version until we merge it. Now you can see that GitHub brought a message here that merge branch staging of so into the main branch. So that is that on branch. What branch does is that it allows developers to work on features without immediately changing the main version, so that when a mistake occurs before it is being put on the main version, it can be rectified. But as a beginner, we'll be focusing on the main branch. We'll be focusing on the main branch. Let me open another GitHub repository. Uh, just to show us an example. So this is the main branch. You see, I don't have any other branches here. We'll be focusing on the main branch. So moving on, we also have push. So this push is not so complicated. Git push is not so complicated. What it does is that it it sends committed changes. It sends committed changes from your local Git repository to a remote repository such as GitHub. I hope you get that. Don't worry, all of this story that I'm just saying, you will see it because um before you will be able to understand these things when you start practicalizing on it and when you see how it works. When you see how it works. And when you see how it works. I don't know. Please confirm if you can still hear me. React. Can you react if you can still hear me? Thank you. Thank you. And can you see my screen clearly? I won't be able to see my screen clearly. Alright, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I was explaining to us what Git push is. But um for you to how do I put this now? For you to be able to work with other developers, the the three Git words you must know is push, pull, clone. Those are those three words. You push, you pull, then you clone. But if I'm to say put it in order, you clone first. That is, you put that project into your local computer, then you pull. Pulling means you are bringing in changes from the main branch. Then pushing means after you've edited whatsoever you want to do, or you've add what you want to do, you then push it back to the cloud, which is GitHub. So developer workflow, the developer workflow. A basic Git workflow looks like this. You create, you edit your files, you Git add, that is, you add every of your changes, you commit, then you push, then it shows on GitHub. Uh, I'm looking, maybe perhaps I should start to show us the workflow. So let me show us the workflow. Let me practicalize it to us. So I won't show us how to get started with GitHub and GitHub. That is how to set it up. I'll just give us a video on that because there's no time, and I know a lot of us have one activities or the other to do. But you can just go online and just github.com, then create your account. Create your account. I don't know why it's putting this. Uh, Click on this place, say sign up for GitHub. What's this? These people are not serious. Maybe because of uploading. So there are various videos online on how to even set up your Git account locally, because it matters. That is how you'll be able to connect your your easily connect your files with your GitHub. So now let's go to GitHub and create a repository on GitHub. I want to show us the developer workflow. Let's show us the developer workflow. So what was the name of it? You can name the repo um anything, but I mostly name my repository the name of my project. So this project here, we called it my first website. So I won't name it that because that's not my first website. I'll just be like my first website tutorial. All right. Then you make it public. You can make it private if you don't want anybody to see it. But if you want people to have access to your project, you can make it public. Then you create repository. So I'm trying to explain to us the workflow. Now we've already created many files. We've created many files already. We've done many changes. What we want to do now is we want to push. So come here. Let's see what we do. Let's see. Where's my Git version? Sorry, This thing has switch on the step. This one. Sorry. Want to show us the workflow, and I'll be able to explain all of the terminologies we've used, which is git add, git commit, what is branch, and all of those things to explain. All right. You can see a saying no source control guidance register coming. So okay, still loading. Let's just use this place instead. It init. So init means initializing we are initializing Git. Can you see? Initialize empty Git repository in my first website. So do you see that the moment we initialize Git, every of our files tend to grow? Why? Because the changes that are being made here has not been staged yet. So, and they turn to blue because Git will begin to, can you see 6 pending changes? Git will begin to track every changes we make or we've made already. So we said the workflow, we create Git init first, we Git initialize inside our project folder. This initializes, that is, Git will start tracking our project, as you can see. Now we Git add. This dot means all. This dot means all our files, every of our files. In some cases, if perhaps you only want to just add a single file, then you cannot mention the file. But we are adding every of our file in this case. So it add, you see, it already added A. A means U means on tracked. Now it is being added. A. Now we commit. Remember, I told us that commit means it records our changes. That is like a snapshot. If you remember, I said git commit is a recorded snapshot of changes in our repository. Now you see what I'm talking about. Git commit dash m. This is the commits line here highlighted. So after dash m, then you input your commit message. Let's just say my what is that commit? Let's just say first commit. Let's say first commit. First commit, then enter. Now it's going to change color now. It's loading. Can you see? Can you see? Now they are saved. Git already took a snapshot of it. It's now a recorded snapshot. Can you see? Created mode 10 1644 my picture. Every of our files here, 6 files changes, 345 insertions. Can we see? So that's the work of commit. It's a saving version, that is, it saves your files. It saves your files with a descriptive message. Can you see? Now, what is the workflow? What is next on our workflow? What is next on our workflow is to push. But before we push, yeah, yeah, that's it. Before we push, we have to follow GitHub's way. We'll change our branch. I told us that we are working with main branch. Currently, by default, Git works with default. Sorry, by default, it works with master branch. Can we see? Can we see? If you notice, you see master. This was why I wanted to use Git bash, so we understand this better. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, okay. Aha. Can we see? Git master. If I say Git status, this is to track our changes. Status is just to track our changes. It will show us the current state of our repository. Now it will tell us the files that have changed, the files that are on track, and which changes are ready to commit. But now we've already committed a lot of changes already. So what you just tell us is this. Why is it taking time? Shall we? Mhm. Can we see? On branch master, nothing to commit, working tree clean. Why? Because remember, we already commit our files here. That is, we already saved them. Now it's telling us nothing to commit because we've not added anything to our file yet. So let's move on. Now we change our branch to main. Git branch dash m main. I hope I'm correct. Let me check. All right, I'm correct. Can you see? Can you see that our branch has been changed to main? Now let's do git status again to know, to confirm. Can you see? Branch main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. Now what do we do next? We we then connect our remote repository with our local repository. And how do we do that? Just whenever you want to push to GitHub, just come here. Your new repository, just come here. See, after you add this, then you can start Git. You can start use can start using Git push to just push your project, to push your changes without doing this Git remote add. So let's let's add let's add this. Let's connect our local Git to GitHub. See, I control copy then paste. See, it has been added. It has been added. There's another terminology in Git and GitHub, which is git log. log. It shows us the history of our project. You get to see your commit messages, commit IDs, authors, dates, and so on. Git log. Can you see? Author, David Dunn. So this is how you track changes on your project. This is the work of Git, like I established earlier on, that it tracks changes. Can you see? Author, David Dunn. This is my username. This is my username. Friday, August 7:45, 16 seconds. You see exact time. This is our commit message. We only have one commit message, which is true. First commit. So now, how do we now push to GitHub? Then this is when our git push comes in. We do git push dash u, git push dash u, origin main. Can we see? Okay. All right. It's done. It has pushed to GitHub. Now let's now go to GitHub. Please, if you are with me, kindly react. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Moradayo. So now let's refresh. Let's reload this page. Can we see our files are now here? Can you see? First commit. These are our commit messages. Can we see? So originally the beginner workflow, it's until you get to deeper stages, you tend to begin to work with the likes of branch, like of git log, all of these things I'm showing. But for now, all you just need is your git init. You see, remember that before before we created a repository and pushed, it said something, initialized empty git repository. But now that we already put something, our git, we already committed some files into it. It said we initialized existing git repository. Take note of that. So all you just need is your git init, your git add, click on enter, your git commit, click on enter, then you connect your local device. I'm sorry, connect your local git repository to the remote one by going to GitHub and copying this this thing. Copy it, then paste it again. You set your main branch to be you set the main branch to be main and not master, because a lot of beginners do get confused with that. So you might ask, okay, I already pushed. What if I make a new changes in my file? How do we then push? What if I wanted to delete this thing right here? It's simple. Maybe, or you are working on a project and you added a new section or a new styling, or you felt like this my pics, this is my picture, let me change it to another picture. Simple. Once you, let's say, I want to delete this navbar, I delete it. I want to bring back this my other navbar. Now let's go to, you see, It's bringing because it has not been committed yet. Notice that's why. So uh let me see. Is there anything I can uh, let this website to be better, or just try to change? Okay, welcome. Let me go to JavaScript. I can also change something in JavaScript. Assuming I don't want this title.text content to be welcome to my website. Assuming I want it to be welcome to my first website. OG. Sorry, why is this not being loaded? Open it live server already. Mm-hmm. Why now? So, okay. You see, welcome to my first website. We already made a lot of changes now. You see the script.js already joined it. Now, let me show us another usefulness of Git status. How do we then commit our change? It's simple. It still has the same workflow. But let's check our Git status first. Let's check our status. Can we see? Can you see? It said changes not staged for commit. It's even telling us what to do. Use git add to update what will be committed, or git restore, then the file, that is git restore. Assuming I don't want these new changes, I want my earlier changes, it can be like git restore index.html. Can we see? So can we see why we're saying that git knows how to track your changes and stage every changes? I was using one example earlier on that. Stage one, point one rather, point two, point three, point four. Git can stage those changes for you. So we won't be restoring our file because we want to push these new changes. It's still the same workflow. Then what we will now be doing now is git add dot stage them. This is just staging them so that they'll be ready for commits. Remember, if you don't stage your files first, you see that it changed color. If you don't stage your file and you just committed, you just wrote git commit -m, then your commit message, it won't work. It won't work. It's going to give you a problem. So now, and these are the things that you have to be very, very careful with. Git is very, very, should I say sensitive? Yes, it's very sensitive to the things you do. So git add dot, we already stage them. Now we commit our new changes. Commit -n, let's say made some new changes. Can you see? Now let's say git status now. Let's check what we've done. It says here that 2 files changed, 3 insertions, 4 deletions. Can you see? Your branch is ahead of origin -main by 1 commit. It's telling us that we already made some new changes and our branch is yet to receive those changes. And if you notice, before I push now, if you notice, our GitHub is still on first commit. It's yet to it is yet to get the new changes we've done. That's why I said that Your branch is ahead. This branch, this is the branch. This whole stuff is the branch. It is ahead of origin dash main by one commit. Use git push to publish your local commit. So now we then we git push. Earlier on we did git push dash u that the git push dash u origin main. Now no need of that. We'll just git push instantly. And in fact, there's no need of us adding our what's it called now? Our remote repository. You see that there's no need of us doing this anymore. The workflow is now you stage them, that's git add dots, you commit, then you push. That's for new changes. Git push. Uh-huh. So now let's reload this web page. Can we see? Can we see? We made some new changes. We made some new changes. All of these are still in first commit because we didn't do anything on it. We didn't make some changes. So that is that on Git and GitHub. I said Git init is used to initialize your Git repository. Git status is used to check what's happening. I showed us. Now imagine now that we've pushed, if we do Git status, it's going to tell us that we are working through clean. You see, your branch is up to date, nothing to commit, working through clean. So that's the work of Git status. This is the staging and save. That's git add dot, then git commit. Step 4, how to track your project history. Remember, I did not even check my slide, but I showed us git log that it is used to check our project history. Can we see? Now that we now have two different commits, it brought it. See, this is the first commit. Can you see? Okay, sorry, this is the second one. 759. Can you see? This is our commit message. We made some new changes. The author, me. Now, this was the first one. This is the first one. It's supposed to. Aha. It's supposed to. Is our history long? As you only showing we made some new changes. So that's what GitLog does. Just shows you the history of your project. So I already showed us how to create our first GitHub repository. We open our browser. Did I even show us scan? If you want me to show you want me to show us how to create a GitHub repository. Again, can you please react? Alright. If you don't want me to, can you please react so I can move on? Alright. Um okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Alright. So I already showed us how to create our first GitHub repository. I already showed us how to connect it. We connect our local repository to our GitHub by using git remote add origin, then the URL of your repository. You noticed, let me come. Uh, you notice git remove, add origin. Then I told you that the URL of your repository, which is this, you can see. So that's how to connect. Then push your project to GitHub. It shows how we push. But I want us, though it's not part of my plan, but I'll just show us how we can also deploy locally on GitHub. So let me come back. Let me come back. So if you want to deploy locally on GitHub, you come here and you click on settings. Click on settings. Then you come to this space called pages. You click on it. You can see deploy from branch. Then you come here, you click on main, then you click on save. Now we wait until, let's reload this page. Let's come to general. Then you come back to general, load again. I think it should be done. Just come back to your code, then deployment. Okay, still deploying, still deploying, still deploying. This one is not part of my plan. I just want to show us how how it works. Now it has been deployed. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Well, okay, this is our link. I knew this happened. Let's see. You see, now I'm alive. Now I can share this link to anybody to view. Can you see? So this is how to deploy on GitHub. So there are different um, hosting platform or that you can deploy your project for free. That's Vercel and Netlify. If I want to deploy, this is my project now. This project I will do on Vercel. Simple. Just go to Vercel. I already connected my GitHub. So it's Vercel is going to ask you to log in. Then after you log in, you then connect your GitHub. Then Vercel will be able to access your repository. So I'll just come here. What's on? So I just add new project. Can you see? Import Git repository. Well, we are done already. I'm just showing us the practical aspect of deploying on GitHub and GitHub and Vercel. So you can see the repository is already here. So you just import, click on import, order. assuming it was a next JS app, Vercel automatically knows what you use to write your project. So order, no need of editing anything. Then just click on deploy. Yeah, deploying. Nice. Yeah, yeah. So if I click on this, this is the difference between Vercel. Unlike GitHub that was saying it's on save and blah blah blah. On Vercel it's not. Can you see? So that's just by the way. That's by the way. I just quickly branch to show us how to how to push. I already showed us our Git workflow. I already showed us what Git status does, what Git add dot, what it does, what Git push, what is also do. So the only thing I'm not talking about is dot Git ignore. When you start consuming API and you start writing in React, you tend to use dot Git ignore more. Like like this project, if you notice, we have our Git dot Git ignore. So what it does is that it helps us keep secrets and also keeps some files safe. For example, if you are working with React or Next.js, there's no there's no point in you um, pushing your node modules because it won't even push your node modules and some files, and all of these files that are blue now that are in our .git ignore, as you can see. Can you see? So, and also you don't push your .env.local. When you start going deep into JavaScript, you know why I said this. Because it's often used to prevent leakage of your API. It's not good when your API is can be easily accessible on GitHub. It's bad. So that is the work of Git ignore. It's a file that tells Git which files or folders should not be tracked. As you can see, these files are not tracked. This these files are not tracked. Ah, it's like there's another Git. So as you can see, they are showing blue because they are not tracked. They are not tracked. They are not tracked. So, and why is dot git ignore important? Why it is important is that it can prevent you from accidentally committing your secret API keys. You know, I told us that it's not good for your API keys to be accessible on the internet. It creates a risk. And also, never upload your secret API keys or password to GitHub. Like, don't at all, because GitHub is very it's a public platform. Many different kind of people can enter your GitHub. So that is that on Git ignore. We already practicalized all of these. We already practicalized all of these. So I was thinking people had turned up today to give us final tags so that we'll be able to uh, work on the certificate. But since people do not, I don't think we'll be sharing certificates, even though we had the plan to, even though we had the plan to. So, and it's okay. I wanted to say and it's a wrap, but before I say that, This is the developer workflow mindset. Yes, the developer workflow mindset. You have the idea, then the design. This is for beginners. If I want to do a developer workflow mindset for myself now, that I write in React and Next.js and TypeScript, I had use another workflow. But for people that write in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, this is your workflow. Your idea, the design, then your HTML, you write it out, your CSS, style it, and your JavaScript to give it behaviors and functionality, test it, then Git, then GitHub, then you deploy, then your website is live. And that is what we've done practically today. So learn by building, debug instead of giving up, read documentations. You know, research has made us understand that one of the things we Africa lack is that we don't like reading. We don't like reading documentations. We don't. A lot of things we buy, a lot of us we buy appliances and won't even read the manuals, or we are signing up on a page and they will be like, do we agree with the terms and condition? We will not read the terms and condition and we will agree. And there are many websites that they are taking a lot of data from us by agreeing to that their terms and condition. So please read a lot of documentation and keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. And it's a wrap. Yes, it's a wrap. So it's been a week of learning, been a week of practicing. We build, break, we debug, we improve, and we build again, build again, build again. But before I end this call, I want to say this: learn how to debug as a developer. One of the most important thing you must learn is learn how to debug. Use AI responsibly. Yes, AI tools can help you to understand concepts. In fact, explain errors and also generate examples. They can help you to review your code. So while you are learning, don't turn AI into a replacement for your learning. Don't, don't. Instead of build my entire project. For example, now, if I give us a task to build so and so, a lot of us will just give AI, build this project for me. Instead of that, you can just be like, explain why is my code, why my code is not working, or give me a hint, or how do I approach this task. So use AI to become a better developer, not to avoid becoming one. Use AI to become a better developer, not to avoid becoming one. So our final course recap started with what front-end development is. Now we already understand HTML, CSS, Flexbox and Grid, responsive design, JavaScript, DOM, event, Git and GitHub, and also Vercel, how to deploy on Vercel and GitHub. Uh, so my final message is this: you have not finished front-end development. You have just completed your first step into front-end development. The goal of this program was to give you the foundation to continue learning independently. Now, you already know enough to start building. The next step is simple. Keep building, build small projects, break things, debug them, read documentation, ask questions, continually push your project to GitHub. And if you are somebody that loves putting your work online, as you are learning, you can be putting it online so as to make you a better developer. And before you know it, you move from learning front end development to becoming a front end developer. And that we come now we've come to end to this front end development fundamental cohort 1.0. Uh, thank you for joining. Thank you. You are welcome, man. All right, that's good. Thank you. All right, do have a good night rest. Okay. Thank you, Jesus.